Well, hello guys and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we'll create the fourth spinner, which I'd like to call a ball in a box. So let's do that. Simply define new div, and in here, let's give it an ID of spinner4, like this. And we also need to define a div for the ball, right? So div, and let's give it an ID of ball, like this, and close the tag. So right now we want to style it a bit, and the idea is that we have a box, and inside the box we have like a ball that is like turning around. So sorry, this should be box, not ball. Yeah, I messed up. I was thinking ahead. So yeah, in here let's give it an ID of spinner4, and let's give it a bit of style. So I'll just give some margin. So margin top, let's give it like 200 pixels, and margin left. Yeah, margin left, and let's give it like 400 pixels, like this, and hit save. So right now you can see any change, right? So what we will do now is define the box. So that's the easy part. So box, it will be just some width and height. So let's give it a width of 150. That will be good for counting, and the height of also 150, like this. And also let's give it a background color so that we can see it, right? So background color, and it should be yellow, like this. And right now we should see it, and we do. There's a box. So also let's give it a position of relative, like this. Okay, so right now what we will define is two pseudo elements. Well, first of all, we will define only one, so that will be the ball. So box, and in here after, so this will be our ball. So first of all, we will just write content, and that will be empty. Then we will write the position, that will be absolute, like this. Then we will write it should be a ball, so border radius, like this, and that should be 50%. And also some width and height. So let's give it a width of, for example, 25 pixels. That might look good. And the height will have the same value. So 25 pixels. And let's see. Yeah, we cannot see anything just yet. So the top will be 50%, so that it is in like the center. So in the middle of the box, right? And the background color will be green yellow, right? So background color, not clip, but color, will be green yellow, like this. So right now you can see the ball, and it's a bit under the middle, right? So yeah, that makes sense because it have 25 pixels, but I moved it by 75 pixels down. So what I need to do is move it by only 62, well, basically by only 40%, because 25 pixels is just 20% from 150, if I'm right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So no, but yeah, that should be good enough. Yeah, it's pretty much in the middle. So 40%, let's keep it this way. And yeah, so that's the ball. So right now let's define the animation actually. So this is the hard part. So it will be just keyframes, and let's call it ball in box. So it pretty much describes what it does. Ball in box, and at 0%, we want it to start at the same position, right? So transform, and it will be translate X, and we will pass 0 pixels. And we also want to translate I, and we will pass once again 0 pixels, like this. And hit save. Okay, then by the time of, well, we have 4 moves, right, that we need to do. We need to go up, then in here, then in here, and then in here. So there are 4 moves, and 100% divided by 4 makes 25. So by 25%, we want the ball to be moved by, so we want the ball to be moved by, it have 25 pixels, this whole thing have 150, so by the half of 125, that's just 62.5 pixels. So we want to move it by 62.5 pixels in both directions, so in the X and in the Y axis. So 62.5, and in here I will just write the same thing, so 62.5, and I will also add the animation to the ball, to the box after element, so that we can see it as we writing, right? So animation, and it will be ball and box. It will be like, I don't know, 2 seconds, linear, and delay will be just 0 seconds, and it will be infinite. So let's see. Yeah, great. So it goes down and exactly to the middle, right? So then what we want to do is move it. So at the time of 50% of the animation, we want it to be moved by the x-axis to 150, right? So we need to move it by the whole width. Well, no, the whole width, the size of the ball, the whole width minus the size of the ball, right? So that's 150 pixels minus 125 pixels, so that's just 125. And the I should be 0. So like this, yeah, and it goes in there. So great, that's great. So right now we will define the 75%, and it will be just, once again, I will just copy and paste it. And in here we will write 62.5, because we want to get back to the middle of the box, right, by the x-axis. So that means this axis. But on the y-axis, we need to go to minus 62.5, right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's a bit of a math to work with, but it should make sense, I believe. Yeah, so that works. That's great. So we have a ball in a box that's just bouncing around, and it looks quite cool, right? So right now what we can do is all kind of fancy stuff with this, but what I will do is add a basically something like shadow effect. So I will define the second pseudo element. So I'll just copy paste it because it's faster. And in here I will write before. And it will have the same color, the same animation, but it will have a opacity. So opacity, and let's give it 0.7 so that you can see it. And let's give it a delay of 1.2, well, 0.2 seconds, obviously. So let's see. Yeah, and there is the ball kind of chasing the first one. So that's a bit of a too much delay. We want to change it to 0.1. So yeah, right now it's a bit closer, but maybe even further. So 0.0, well, not the second point like this, so 0.05. And right now it looks quite cool. Right now it looks like the ball is moving really fast and it have like shadow. So that's great. I will just change the opacity to like even further. So for example 0.4. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, you can barely see it, so I'll just move it like 0.5 at least. Yeah, that looks better. So that looks the best in my opinion. So basically this element is the shadow that you can see behind the ball. Hopefully you can see it. It's not like something dramatic, but it is like a nice effect, right? If you want to see it more, you can always change the opacity, or you can change the delay. So for example, to 0.7, right? Right now you can definitely see the ball more. But yeah, you can always play with that, it's up to you. This video is part of my Udemy course. If you are interested about it, make sure to go check it out. I'll leave a discount link in the description of this video.